Development for Minecraft 1.20 is well underway, and it doesn't seem like it'll be too long before we have an official release date. In the meantime, I thought it might be fun to explore some of those new features and biomes in LEGO form, and you guys have certainly been requesting it, even though some of these were only revealed a month ago. So today we're going to tackle one of our most ambitious biomes yet, and that's the Cherry Grove. Let's get to building. For those of you unfamiliar with the new biome, let's take a quick look at it in game. So one thing I noticed right away is that this biome tends to spawn above a certain height. So that's something I'm going to want to bring into play into the layout too, making sure that this is a bit higher than ground level. The Cherry Grove also introduces a few new block types, the logs, the leaves obviously, but also these beautiful floor flowers. One last thing I need to make note of too is that the grass color seems to be a bit lighter in this biome, so we'll probably make use of bright green tiles when we get to that point. For this module, I'm going to start out with the standard 2x1 size that's half a chunk, 8x16 blocks in the game, and this is going to be positioned on the far back of the display. I'm thinking right next to the village, and so I'll need to have the back cleaned up. And I'm actually planning on putting a cave there, hence the weird shape of the base plate. It should extend down into the lower levels of the display for all my underground modules. This will be our actual first connection point between the two different halves of the display. The cave is actually going to be our first normal one in the display, no fancy dripstones or anything like that, just a standard Minecraft cave with some basic ores like the coal ore you see on the wall. There is one crazy thing I want to try with this though, and that's the addition of granite, which I think I'm going to use sand red for. If you've been following the series, you know kind of my history with sand red. I'm obsessed with the color, but it's extremely rare to find, and you only get weird parts like this. After a bit of digging around in my sand red collection, I came up with these pieces, which could potentially be used to make some granite on the wall of our cave. This is a pretty substantial area I want to cover with granite, so we're gonna have to get really creative with our parts usage here, making use of plenty of slopes, some modified plates, and some 1x6 tiles to smooth things off. Building in a rare color like this takes a lot of trial and error and a sweet bit of cash too. A lot of these pieces are worth $1 or $2 a piece. It's a bit of a pain, but I'm really glad I'm able to put them to use here. Eventually, I was able to come up with something pretty natural and satisfactory looking. I'm always excited to add a bit of color to my builds, and what otherwise would have been a dark gray cave now looks a bit more exciting. Here you can see around the back what it actually looks like. A lot of weird parts, right? The rest of the cave is made out of much more standard construction that you've seen plenty of times in this series before. I don't even have to use a lot of studs not on top techniques, as LEGO has been producing more and more inverted 2x tiles. Saves me a lot of brain power and a lot of bricks. Like I mentioned earlier, the grass color I'm going to go with here is actually bright green, which is the same I used for the jungle. And then surrounding the base of the hill here will be the regular plains biome, which of course I do in regular LEGO green. The next important step here is going to be adding the flowers that appear on the forest floor, which I showcased in-game earlier. Over the years, LEGO has produced two different 1x1 flower-shaped plates, both of which I'll use here in various colors: white, bright pink, and medium dark pink. And some bright green mixed in there too. It's a solution that almost seems too obvious and too easy, but sometimes those just work perfectly, like you have here. Something that's not going to be obvious or easy is going to be the creation of this studless tree. So I want to push that off a little bit longer by adding some figures to the cave, like this armored up skeleton hunting this poor, clueless player. There's plenty of room on the outside to add some mobs too, so I'm going to add 2 rabbits that haven't been featured yet in the display. Alright, now it's time to build this tree. For the logs, I'm going to make use of dark brown, which does have a purpley reddish hue to it. I think black would just be too dark. And of course, bright pink and a mixture of some bright green seems the perfect solution for the leaves. The hard part about this tree is not only the fact that it's absolutely massive, but I want to make sure it's smoothed off on the top, sides, and even the bottom. There shouldn't be any anti-studs visible, there shouldn't be any studs visible. All the while, where I can, I want to add some texturing too with the bright green leaves popping through the pink blossoms. Not as many LEGO elements are produced in bright pink as some other colors, but my saving grace here is that there is indeed inverted 2x2 tiles, which has saved me a lot of pain. I don't have a lot of them on hand, but I have just enough to at least smooth out the bottom. I'm getting some mangrove tree flashbacks as I build this together. This huge, massive structure all sat upon a single 2x2 base. It does wobble around a fair bit. At least I'm a little more faithful in the durability of dark brown as opposed to reddish brown. Yet there's no way I'm attaching the tiles to this thing while it's sat up there on the hill. That's asking for problems. Well, that was truly a tiling experience like no others, with tiles on the top, bottom, and sides. But hey, we got it done and it looks pretty good. We can finally secure this into place. Okay, secure is a bit of a strong word, but we can put it on top of the hill and it's gonna look majestic either way. I love that more realistic looking trees have been added to the game lately. They really look awesome and they're super fun and challenging to build in LEGO too. And just like that, our Cherry Grove biome is pretty much done. For such a modestly sized module, this one has a lot going on. With that cave system, the mobs, the huge tree, and a plus is that it looks great around all sides too. I like the idea that I could pick this off the larger layout and display it all on its own. But there's one thing we're missing. What good would a 1.20 module be without the legendary Sniffer? I recently made a build tutorial for this guy and I had to give him a home. Otherwise he was just sitting in a bucket with the old Warden design. Now I think I can say with confidence that I feel very good about this build and I think we're ready to add it to the rest of the display. I'm going to place this one right alongside the Plains Village where it will serve as a sort of bridge between the temperate biomes and the colder biomes on the layout. It makes sense too, as the right hand of the display is going to become a bit more mountainous as the series continues. And speaking of the series continuing, we've got a lot of big plans for this year yet, starting off with the return to the Nether and the Basalt Deltas as the next episode. I hope you find this long overdue module a triumphant return to the Nether mini-series. If you want to watch that episode early, all you have to do is become a channel member by clicking the join button down below. But that's all I've got for this time. You have yourself a fantastic life, and I'll catch you later.